Hello and welcome to another episode. I am Brian, the Unskilled Commander, and we've got some gameplay Commander for you. Today's matchup is Imodane, Bruvac Mill, Goshintai, and Aisi Landfall. Last game had some hiccups at the last second because I was forgetting a couple interactions, but we were able to rewind things just enough and work it out so that the game was not only correct, pretty fun with the interactions that happened. Let's see how today's game goes. I already rolled the dice. Aisi is going to go first, so let's jump in and see what happens. Draw for turn. Terramorphic Expanse, cracking it into a forest, and then I will pass. Draw over here. Reliquary Tower, tapping it into a turn 1 Soul Ring. Oh no, get him. But that's all we can do. We will pass. Draw for turn over here. Snow-covered island, pass. Draw. We will play a forest and pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. Play an island. Play the spell book, which I actually should have played that on turn 1. Not that it mattered, but it's always fun to drop a 0-cost spell on turn 1 before you play any lands. It's just a bit of a flex. But spell book, you have no maximum hand size. I will tap 2 and play Emerald Medallion. Green spells cost 1 less to cast. Pretty solid turn 2. We will pass. Untap, upkeep. Draw for turn. Play a mountain. Actually, we're going to play the Terramorphic Expanse instead to get a mountain because even though I have enough mana to cast Imodane, if I had just played the mountain, I didn't have the right colored mana. So I should have played either the Terramorphic or the mountain first so that I could have gotten Imodane out on turn 2. So that was my stupidity. 3 mana, can't do anything with it, past turn. See, and that is the point of the channel, to get better at not only deck building, but deck playing. To play my decks better and stop and take a breath and read all the cards in my hand and figure out what the proper order for them is instead of just being like, oh, land, play, go, and then having to either ask to walk it back or just play a stupid turn and not get the proper value. And hopefully, watching my mistakes and seeing the cards that I'm playing can help you make your decks better and your gameplay better so that we can all enjoy Magic and win a few extra games. We're going to untap over here, upkeep, draw, play another snow-covered island. I will tap 2 to play Drowned Secrets. Whenever I cast a blue spell, target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. We will pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw over here. Mountain for turn, nothing we can do with 2, so we will pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Play a Blighted Woodlands. Nope, see, I just did it again. Alright, so we're going to tap, take that back. We're going to tap an island for a Rune Crab, which is of course also in Bruvac. 0-3, whenever a land enters the battlefield under my control, each opponent mills 3 cards. I will tap 1 to play Helix Pinnacle, which we kind of saw at the end of last game. It's an enchantment with Shroud. I can pay X and put X tower counters on Helix Pinnacle. If it has 100 counters on it, I win the game. Now I will play Blighted Woodland, and each opponent mills 3. Okay, that was a pretty good hit. That is all we can do, so we'll pass. Untap over here, upkeep, draw, play a mountain, tapping all 4 to play Imodane the Pyro Hammer. A 4-4, whenever an instant or sorcery I control targets just 1 creature, and it deals damage to that creature, Imodane deals that much damage to each opponent. I have 1 open mana, not enough to do anything, so we will go ahead and pass. Untap, upkeep, draw, play an island, tapping all 3 to play Bruvac, the Grand Eloquent. It's a 1-4. If an opponent would mill 1 or more cards, they mill twice that many cards. Oh, well, it doesn't say from me, so that means Rune Crab's going to hit them for 6 cards. Oh, that's funny and bad. But okay. Anyway, I cast a blue spell, so before Bruvac hits the battlefield and sees it, target player puts the top 2 cards in their library into the graveyard. So obviously we're hitting you, but that's all we can do. We'll then pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw over here, play another forest. And tap 3 to play Herald of the Pantheon. So 2/2 enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain a life. So that's pretty awesome, especially for this deck. But that's all we can do. Pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw over here. So I'm going to play Rejuvenating Springs. Comes into the battlefield tapped unless you have 2 or more opponents. I do. Land entered the battlefield, so each opponent's going to mill 3 cards. However, these 2 are going to mill 6 because Bruvac's out. Bruvac only mills 3. And something to note for both, mainly for the deck itself, but for also over here, sometimes milling can help because, as you may have noticed over in Goshintai, I just hit like 3 swamps in a row as part of those 6. That would have been bothersome to get through because obviously I need lands, but 3 of the exact same color is not going to help matters in a 5-color deck. And you're probably going to buy those, and that's 6 turns from now. So at that point, I'm definitely going to want to play things, not lands. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, and green spells cost 1 less for 5. Not enough to do that. So instead, I will go 1, 2, and play Territorial Scythecat. Trample 2/1 landfall when land enters the battlefield under your control. Put a +1/+1 counter on Territorial Scythecat. Honestly, I should have played that first, but I miscalculated and thought I was going to be able to play Aisi when I played Rejuvenator Springs, so that's why I didn't play that one. Still a misplay, but it wasn't because I wasn't looking. I was like, no, I want to do this other thing first. Oh, I can't. Well, it's too late. I already played the land, so that's not going to get the trigger there. However, I will go ahead and tap these 2 and just put 2 counters onto Helix Pinnacle because you got extra extra mana, might as well. We're going to pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw, play a mountain for turn. I will tap a mountain and a soul ring to play Arc Lightning, dealing 3 damage to the Rune Crab. It takes 3 damage, Imodane sees that, and each opponent takes 3 damage. Still have 3 mana up, nothing I can actually really do with it, unfortunately. Alright, so I guess we're going to have to go ahead and pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw, play a snow-covered island. We're going to tap 3 and play Propaganda. Creatures can't attack me unless they pay an additional 2 mana for each creature attacking. I cast a blue spell, however, so target player is going to put the top 2 cards of the library in the graveyard, but with Brewvac out, that's going to be 4, and that is going to be you again. Landfall. So you're milling 4. 1 open mana, nothing I can do with it. No point in attacking because everyone's got a blocker. We're going to pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. I will play a Fabled Passage, cracking it for planes. So it comes to the battlefield tapped, but because I have 4 more lands, it untaps. Then I will tap 4 to play Go Shintai. Actually, no, I will pay 3 because enchantment spells cost 1 less to cast. Go Shintai, 3/4. Can pay Wooburg. Return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. When Go Shintai or another shrine you control enters the battlefield, non-token shrine, you make a token shrine. That's a 1/1 enchantment creature. Okay, nothing I can do with the 1 open mana, but I did cast an enchantment spell, so I do gain a life, and I will go ahead and pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. It is a land, so we're going to play a land, put a +1/+1 counter on territorial. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it costs 1 less. So now I will play Icy of the Gyre Strait. It's a 5/5. I may play an additional land on each of my turns. When a land enters the battlefield under my control, draw a card. Unfortunately, I don't have any extra lands in my hand, which is very, very bad. But you'll notice that I can crack Blighted Woodlands on next turn and get 2 triggers of that. Nothing else we can do. I have a 3/2 with Trample, not really worth it right now, so we'll pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn, play another mountain. Alright, so I'm going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4, and play Cut In. It deals 4 damage to target creature. We're going to deal 4 damage to the territorial Scythe Cat. Wait, no, sorry. Again, look at your cards, do the math, think before you act. We're going to target Brewvac because it's 4 and he's a 1/4. It's going to deal 4 damage to Brewvac. It's going to die. It's going to cost 2 more to recast. And now everyone's going to take 4 damage. My opponents, at least. Now, with the last 3 mana, I will pay, with X being 2, a red and then X being 2, Spone Splitter Bolt deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. It's going to deal 2 damage to the Scythe Cat. And then my opponents are going to take 2 damage. There we go. Cleared the board of some decent threats. I could swing in on you for 4 commander damage, but then that would leave me open to both of you if you wanted to start taking me out, which would be the smart idea. We can definitely block Go Shintai and not have to worry. And actually, they wouldn't swing because this Imodane would kill Go Shintai. Iisi is the one we got to worry about. But we're going to go ahead and pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. I will play Snow-Covered Island, tap all 5 to play Gilded Lotus. Tap it to add 3 mana of any 1 color. I will then tap it for 3 blue to play the enchantment. Psychic Corrosion. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. I will put this to remind myself that I have a draw trigger. I cast a blue spell. Someone's going to put the top 2 into their graveyard. We're going to say Imodane, and then we're going to pass turn. Okay, untap, upkeep, draw over here. I will play a mountain for turn because I had that in my hand. Yeah, we can hold off on that right now. So we're going to go ahead and tap 4, as I said, to play the enchantment shrine, Hoden of Honden. I always call it Honden of Cleansing Fire. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 2 life for each shrine you control. So I now have 2 shrines, and I get a reminder on my upkeep that I will gain life. That's pretty awesome. And also, pay attention, enchantments cost 1 less, gain a life, and in that case, I can, in fact, play this, and it only costs 1. I'm going to play Prismatic Omen. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to the other types, so that's mana fixing for this. Yay! And I gain another life. Now we're setting up really good for shrines. We're going to go ahead and pass turn. There wasn't any real reason to attack over there, so we'll untap, upkeep, draw for turn. I will play a command tower, which only has one thing, which lets me, Iisi triggers, I get to draw a card. Then I will tap 4, sacrificing Blighted Woodland to search for up to 2 basic lane cards, put them on a battlefield tapped. Okay, 2 forests are going to come onto the battlefield tapped, but that's 2 triggers of Iisi, so I get to draw 2 cards. Unfortunately, I didn't draw an actual land to use for his additional land per turn, so I'll just tap the command tower to add a counter onto the Helix Pinnacle. Actually, we will not do that. Gosh darn it, read your cards! Because green cards cost 1 less, so I will tap command tower for green to play Druid class. Has 3 phases. It comes in whenever a land enters the battlefield under my control. I gain a life. I can pay 3 to upgrade it to level 2, which means I can play an additional land on each of my turns, and then upgrade to level 3. When it becomes level 3, target land becomes a creature with haste, and this creature's power and toughness aren't equal to the number of lands you control. Still a land. Now, I could swing, but then I would be open. Not really what the deck's about anyway, at least not Iisi. So we'll go ahead and pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. We're going to go ahead and tap Soul Ring for Lightning Greaves. and then move to equip it. I don't believe anyone can stop me. You can't stop me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana left. Fortunately, I mean, I have good cards, but no, I definitely don't have enough mana. I still need 1 more mana and all of it open. So we're just going to go ahead and pass, because I want to do something really cool if I get the chance. I mean, I always do. I always want to play something cool if I get the chance, but untap over here, upkeep. I have an upkeep trigger. Whenever I draw a card, the target opponent puts the top 2 cards of the library into the graveyard. Who do we want to hit? Well, yeah, you still do have the most life, so we'll mill you. There's a land you need, but we don't know that. But I will then play a land for turn, tapping 3 and 2 others to cover the commander tax to recast Bruvak. It is a blue spell, so you will put the top 2 in your graveyard again. Now I have 4 mana open. I like this. We're going to return 2 islands to my hand instead of paying the cost for Gush. But instead of paying the actual 5 mana, you can return 2 islands. I'm going to draw 2 cards, so that's going to trigger a bunch of stuff. So every time I draw a card, target opponent puts the top 2, which is now the top 4, into their graveyard. And we're going to do that again, but we're going to target someone else this time. We're going to go ahead and do Goshintai. Some good hits in that. Then with my last breath, my last 2 mana, I will cast Sweet Oblivion. Target player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard. I think we're going to go ahead and target landfall. So that means you're going to put the top 8 cards of your library into your graveyard. All right, so technically we're behind on lands because we just bounced 2 back to my hand, but that was a good way of getting some stuff done. I like it. Nothing else we can do. We're going to go ahead and pass. I do need to try and remember that Bruvak has propaganda out. I know I won't if someone attacks, but I need to try. Beginning of my upkeep, I'm going to gain 2 life for each shrine. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to gain 8 life. Draw a card for turn. It costs 1 less. They're all types. So we will tap 3 and play the enchantment Collective Restraint. Creatures can't attack me unless their controller pays X for each creature attacking, where X is the number of basic land types. Now, technically, my lands are every basic land type in addition to their others. So that means it should be 5. If nothing else, it's 3. It does say they are every basic land type in addition to their other types for each creature, or where X is the number of basic land types. So this is a basic forest, a basic plains. Yeah, so it should be 5. They have to pay 5 per creature to attack. I have 2 mana up. This isn't really going to hurt anybody except for landfall. So do I want to bother with that? Sure. It's one of the reasons why I built the deck. So we will tap... Oh, no, I can't. Sorry. Enchantments are 1 less, but I have to have 3 colors. So that's all we can do. We're going to go ahead and pass turn. Untap. Upkeep. Draw for turn. It's a land. I will play the land, gain a life, draw a card. Man, there's a lot of good targets for this. Shoot. All right, well, what we're going to do, green spells cost 1 less to cast. So I'm going to tap 2 mana and play Reclamation Sage. When it enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact or enchant. That's the problem. There's a lot. Like, get rid of the Shroud on Imodane. That's probably the least of the important ones. Getting rid of the Collective Restraint and one of those things is probably your better bet. Most likely, because a landfall deck can probably pay for it eventually, especially if I get some trample out or whatever. I don't want to mill cards. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent puts the top 2. Whenever you cast a blue spell, well, it's a mono blue deck, so I think we're going to go ahead and blast that. What do you think? Would you pick something else on the field to blow up? I think that's probably the best choice. I will then tap for green and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. X being 5. Animist's Awakening. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. Put all lands from among them on the battlefield tapped and the rest on the bottom in any order. If there are 2 or more instants or sorceries in your graveyard, untap them. Ooh, you milled me a bunch. 2 or more. I have enough. So sweet, these lands are going to come in untapped if I get it. So we got 1. Awesome. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pretty good. These go on the bottom in any order, random order, whatever. These 3 go onto the battlefield, so that's going to be 3 triggers. I gain 3 life. 1, 2, 3. I draw 3 cards. I guess because it's you reveal the top X cards, put all land cards from among them. No, I think I did that right. I think you reveal them all first, then put them on the battlefield, so I wouldn't be drawing those cards. Okay, I'm definitely going to tap. Wait. Oh, okay, so I would have had to return an untapped forest. So it's like I play them, but in order to keep Jungle Basin on the field, and it does enter tapped. Dang it, I have to bounce a untapped forest to my hand. But, good news, IEC says I can play an extra land per turn, so I will play an extra land, gain a life, draw a card, and then tap the 2 to play my Lightning Greaves over here, and move to equip them onto IEC. Okay, got no maximum hand size, although we only have 6 cards, but still. I'm going to pass turn, untap, upkeep, draw. It's not a land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to play Fire Servant, a 4/3. If a red instant or sorcery spell you control would deal damage, it deals double that damage instead. Very, very cool. However, I can't play anything else, so we're going to have to pass, although that does make Imodane quite a bit of a threat. Because what will happen is, I play a destruction spell on a creature, even if it's just a 3, like 3 damage to target creature, the Fire Servant makes it 6 damage, and then Imodane sees that and deals 6 damage to each opponent. So we're going to untap over here, upkeep, draw. When I draw, each opponent puts the top 2 cards in their graveyard. Putting a snow-covered island onto the battlefield. Going to tap 3 to play Burnished Heart. Going to go ahead and pay 3 to sack Burnished Heart and search for 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield tapped. So now we are back up to where we should be land-wise. I have 2 open mana, nothing I can cast with that, unfortunately. We will pass turn. Untap. I'm going to gain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 50. That's cool. Draw a card. Play an island for turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play Goshintai of Shared Purpose. That makes a shrine token. It's a 1/3 with vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token for each shrine you control. Sorry, that's 1 less. So I actually have 3 open mana, which is good. And what I'm going to do is then tap 3 to play Tuvasa the Sunlit. A 1/1. He gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control, so he's pretty big. Whenever you cast your first enchantment spell each turn, draw a card. So that's some good card draw. So he's a 9/9 right now. No other keywords like flying or trample, unfortunately, but still a 9/9 blockers, or, it's pretty good. Now, I didn't leave any mana up to do that, unfortunately. And he is not an enchantment, so he doesn't cost less. And it's 3 colors. There's no colorless pips, so it wouldn't matter. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pass turn. Well, I did play an enchantment, so I do gain another life off of that. But that's it. We're going to pass. As you can see, Shrines isn't really supposed to be about any kind of combat. It's supposed to lock down the board, get a bunch of shrines out, and then use the shrine triggers to ping everybody and me gain life and draw cards and do things like that. So we will untap over here. Upkeep. Draw for turn. Not a land. Sheesh. I'll tap a blue and a green to play Growth Spiral. Draw a card. You may put a land card on the battlefield from your hand. Thankfully, I drew a land, so I will play it, gain a life, and then draw a card. It's another land, so I will play that land off of Growth Spiral, gain a life, draw a card. Fortunately, it's not a land, so we stop that one. I will go ahead and tap 3 mana, make that 2 mana, but it has to be 2 green, to play the creature Augur of Autumn. A 2/3, you may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play lands from the top of your library, and Coven, as long as you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. 5/2/2, so I don't have that ability. But I can look at the top card, I will. It is, in fact, a land, so I will play that for my actual land for turn. No. So this is the 3rd land I can play this turn, which is off of Aisi. So I will gain a life, draw a card. I can look at the top card. It is a land. So if I go ahead and tap 3 to then move Druid class to its 2nd level, I can play lands, an additional land on each of my turns. And since I can play from the top of my library, I will play off of Augur of Autumns. Gain a life, draw a card. Nice. Okay. Probably been playing this, well, not probably, I have been playing this wrong, but we're going to tap 2 for Grazing Glade Heart. It's a 2/2. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, I gain 2 life. So I should have played that much earlier, but again, whatever. I will then tap a green to play Lotus Cobra. Whenever land enters the battlefield under my control, I gain 1 mana of any color. I will tap 2 to play Azusa, Lost But Seeking. You may play 2 additional lands on each of my turns. So right now I can play 1, 2, 3, 4 normally, 5. So I can play 5 lands per turn if I want. Well, if I have them. 5, 2, 1. I now control 3 creatures with different powers, so I can cast creature spells from the top of my library. I will not do that because I don't have the right mana colors. Gosh darn it. Just because I have it, I'll tap a green to play Exploration. I can play an additional land on each of my turns, so now I can play 6 lands on each of my turns. I will tap these 4 mana to put 3 mana into Helix Pinnacle and pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Still not a land. That's unfortunate. Ooh, here's a fun one. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 and play Repercussion, an enchantment. Whenever a creature is dealt damage, Repercussion deals that much damage to that creature's controller. Again, I still don't have any blast spells though. Alright, you know what? It seems dumb, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to tap 1, 2, 3 to play Valakut Awakening. Put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your library. Draw that many cards +1. I'm just going to put 1, but it means I get to draw 2. Yes, there's the land I needed. I play the land. Can't do anything with it this turn, but next turn, stuff's about to go off. Imodane might very well get close to winning next game. We'll see. Now there's some high life totals. Pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw a card. We're going to mill landfall 4 cards. Although that may have helped them get to more lands, we'll see. Tap a land to play Visions of Beyond. Draw a card. If a graveyard has 20 or more cards in it, draw 3 cards instead. I'm fairly certain that somebody, here, let's just take a quick gander. Imodane has more than 20, so that means we get to draw 3 cards. 1. Wow, that's a big whiff on nothing but lands. I don't remember if I actually played a land this turn. I think I didn't, so I will play a land now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to play Thassa's Bounty. Draw 3 cards. Oh, wait a second. Sorry. I just drew 3 cards, so that's 3 instances of 4 cards being milled. Everybody's going to mill 4. Now, this milling is actually helping Imodane, unbeknownst to mill. But anyway, we played Thassa's Bounty. We're going to draw another 3 cards. Target player puts the top 3 cards of their library into their graveyard. So everyone's going to mill 4 again. And because Shrines is gaining a ton of life, and they have the most, we're going to hit them again for the next shot, which was 6. And to be fair, I just saw Sanctum of All go into the graveyard, and Goshintai can get those cards out of the graveyard onto the battlefield. So milling Goshintai helps them a little bit too. I will tap 1 for Hedron Crab. Shoot, nothing is tapped, so I can't do that. Alright, we're going to go ahead and pass turn. Untap over here. Upkeep, I'm going to gain, there you go, gain 12 life. Draw a card, play a land for turn. We're going to tap 3 to play Destructive Flow. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a non-basic land. It's not going to hurt them any. It'll only hurt them by 1. They're the ones going to lose a bunch of land. But I played my first enchantment this turn, so I draw a card. Sure, we'll go ahead and tap 3 for a Chromatic Lantern. I'm not going to do anything, but what we will do is we'll move to our end step, paying 1, and then I make a 1/1 colorless spirit token, each shrine I control. So that's going to be 6 1/1s. They don't have flying, unfortunately. Otherwise, they'd be really good for attacking, but they're good blockers. We're going to go ahead and pass. We are going to untap all of this mana. However, at my upkeep, I have to destroy a non-basic land, so I'll get rid of Rejuvenating Springs. I will draw a card for turn. It's not a land, actually. I will look at the top card. It's still not a land. I can play creatures from the top now, though. So I guess we're going to go ahead and do that, and this is going to be crazy. We need 2 green, and then 4 because they cost 1 less. Lands everywhere. We're going to play Avenger of Zendikar. No! When it enters the battlefield, create a 0/1 plant token for each land you control. I have 14 0/1 plant tokens, and it is a land on the top of my library, so I can play it from the top of my library. Boom. Whenever you play a land that enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, or each plant token. I also gain a life and draw a card off of Aisi. Reveal. It's a land. I'm going to play it for my card off of Aisi. Gain a life, draw a card. I also make a mana, so that would have been 2 mana of any color, so we'll just say 2 blue. Now 2 green, even though it's a blue dice. I also gain another 2 life off of Grazing Glacier, so that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I may look at the top card. It is not a creature or a land, but I'm going to draw it because I'm going to play a island off of Exploration. I'm going to gain 3 life. 1, 2, 3. This get another counter. I get another mana. And then I'm going to draw a card for turn. Totally going to tap 1 for Millennium Calendar. Hey. I will then tap, or rather I will play Coral Atoll. Comes in tapped. I have to bounce an island in my hand. This is the land for turn off of my Druid class. This goes up. This goes up. Gain 3. Then I'm going to play a land off of the first of the 2 Azusa triggers. This goes up. This goes up. Oh, I actually didn't draw a card off of, I don't know. Now I'm getting confused. I'm just going to draw those 2. And then 1, 2, 3. In fact, I'm going to put this back because I'm not sure I drew properly. Then my final land for turn off of Azusa. 1, 2, 3. This goes up. This goes up. And then I draw a card for sure. Oh, man. So wait a second. So we played 2 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, and then our actual land for turn. I believe that is all we can do. We can still look at the top. It's not a land or creature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Paying 6 because it's 1 cheaper to play Cosmos Serpent. It can't be countered. It's a 6/6. At the beginning of each upkeep, make a 3/3 blue serpent creature token named Coma's Coil. I can sacrifice another serpent, which is the coils, to either tap target permanent, its activated abilities can't be activated this turn, or Coma gains indestructible until end of turn. Got 5 mana left. Sure. We'll tap all 5 into Rampaging Balos. We've seen that before as a 6/6 with trample. When a land enters the battlefield under my control, make a 4/4 green beast token. I have 14 6/7s. I have 6 mana left. I forgot about that. That is enough. We will use all of that mana to play Cultivator Colossus. Trample, when its power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. When it enters, you may put a land card on the battlefield from your hand. Tapped. If you do, draw a card and repeat this process. I don't have any more lands. However, he is insanely big. He does have trample, so he's a 19/19. That's nothing to worry about, guys. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Everything. I'm not going to go to attacks just yet because why would I? I will then move to my end step, pass turn. At their upkeep, I'll make a 3/3 snake. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. It's another land. We'll play it, and now we get to see if we win the game. Although with 58 and 63, geez, I don't think we can. That's crazy. 3 red, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Mizzet's Mastery overloaded. So, exile target card that's an instant or sorcery from my graveyard. For each card exiled this way, copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost, and then you exile Mizzet's Mastery. But because I said I chose overloaded instead of target, I do each. So every single instant and sorcery in my graveyard is now getting recast. Not necessarily. There might be some in here that I choose not to do. So this nice healthy stack, thanks Mill, are all my instants and sorceries. Now some of these are going to be card draw spells, so we don't really want to play them because most of those card draw spells say discard a card. And we only have one card in hand, which is fine. We can get rid of that for one of them. Also, anything that has X in the spells is going to fizzle because X will automatically be 0, so that's not good. So this isn't going to get, we're not going to bother with that one. These two are for sure, but that's at the end. Well, if you use them or you don't use them, they're getting exiled. Okay. Now the problem, not the problem, but the sad thing is that we don't have any damage doublers on the field. That would absolutely guarantee a win right now. Repercussions is going to help, but it's not guaranteed. Because repercussions, when a creature is dealt damage, that much damage is dealt with the controller. Okay, so we're just going to go down the line here. So I'm going to cast Lightning Axe. Well, you may cast it as an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card, or pay 5 mana. I can discard a card, so I don't see why you wouldn't. You may cast these copies without paying their mana cost, but that's not the additional cost. Let me know in the comments if that's wrong, if Lightning Axe can't be used, but I think it can. So it's going to deal 5 damage to target creature. Note that has Shroud. 5 damage to Avenger of Zendikar. Because of repercussions, you're going to take 5 damage. Then everyone's going to take 5 damage. That's a good point. I should focus on Shrines because they have the most life, so we want the repercussions to hit them. However, before that, I'm going to cast Fiery Confluence, choose 3. You may choose the same thing twice. I'm going to deal 2 damage to each opponent. So that means each opponent's going to get hit for 6. Okay. Then I'm going to cast Witchstalker Frenzy. Deals 5 damage to target creature. So I'm going to deal 5 damage to Goshintai. It's going to cost 2 more to cast if it comes back to that. So you're going to take 5 damage. And then everyone's going to take 5 damage. Oh, shoot. That's true. Bruvak does have a counterspell in hand and enough mana to cast it. So he probably should have countered Mizzet's Mastery. Because he was the lowest life, so he was obviously the one that was absolutely going to die, whereas these two might actually survive it. Okay, you know what? Here's the thing. Last game, we went through a whole big rigmarole at the end where it was like there was a counterspell on blue that I had forgotten to do, and we rolled it back and took care of it, but I don't feel like doing that again because, again, it's just like, it's just going to drag things out, and I forgot. That's part of this training process. I need to take better advantage of the board state. And just because I'm not going to know what my opponent has in their hand, I should still be aware of the board state. I should still be like, oh shoot, the blue player has 3 open mana. This is my big win spell right now. It's probably going to get countered. Who knows? Someone might have countered Repercussions. They might have countered Fire Servant. Oh shoot, Fire Servant. Oh man. Okay, so that doubles the damage on everything. So thankfully, I've only really cast Lightning Axe, and so it's only an additional 5 per, so it's an additional 10. That's still impressive. So yeah, it's up to you guys if you... Well, it's not up to you guys. You can't stop me from... We don't have the back and forth instantaneously enough, but I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to be like, I forgot, they forgot, whatever you want to call it, this resolves. Now, these spells are being cast, so he could still counter one of them, buy himself some time, but by doing that would just help these ones survive. We're just going to say it was a flub on my part for Bruvak. So, to that end, we will then play Strangle, deals 3 damage to this Goshintai, the one that gains you life. So we Repercussions, 2, 3. I will then do Bolt of Keranos. 3 damage to target creature or player. I scry 1. Scry, leave that there. 3 damage to, that's too big now. 3 damage to this thing that makes them cost less. Okay, skaboosh, kaboosh, you're done. Lightning Javelin does 3 damage to target creature. One of these, 2, 3, and then everyone takes 1, 2, 3. Arc Lightning, 3 damage to another one of these. Finally, Cut In. Deals 4 damage to this last one. So you're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So then I will cast Dance with Calamity. Shuffle your library. As many times as you choose, you may exile the top card of your library. If the total mana value of the cards exiled this way is 13 or less, you may cast them without paying their mana cost. Demon Bolt. It's 3, land, 3, 6, 7, 8. 8. Well, I actually already saw it, so yeah, it's a 1. So 9, so I'm going to stop there. I get to cast Overmaster. Next instant or sorcery you cast can't be countered. I draw a card. I can cast Isengard Unleashed. Damage can't be branded this turn. If a source you control would deal damage this turn to an opponent, or it triples that damage. Awesome. And then I'm going to deal Demon Bolt, or cast Demon Bolt to one of your spirits. No, actually, because the life totals are different now somehow, I'm going to cast it on one of your snake. That's 4 damage, but it gets doubled and then tripled. So that's just game, because that's what Imodane's going to see. So she's going to see 4, 8, 8 times 3. So she can see 24 damage hit that creature. You're going to take 24 damage thanks to repercussions, and then Imodane's going to deal 24 damage to you. Kaboosh! Alright, Imodane. It's a little iffy on if we want to count that as the win from Imodane because of the counterspell. I still say, it's a big mistake, but at the same time, it's just one mistake out of the game that I know of, and it was still a really cool win. And I love Mizzet's Mastery, that's great, especially, I wasn't considering that against the mill deck, but that just worked out really well. I hope you guys enjoyed it, I hope you saw some cool cards, hope you learned some lessons from my mistakes. Always pay attention to open mana that other people have when you're casting, because I had to use all of my mana to cast Mizzet's Mastery. If that had got countered, I would have been screwed. I still had 40 life, so I probably had a couple turns. But then again, over here we had 14 6/6s, a 19/19 with trample. They could have definitely taken out. They definitely could have taken out Mill and probably me because they were at like 50 some life. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.